Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron here, Lectures in Systematic Theology. This is one of my favorite systematic theology books, along with Evans' Christian Doctrine. And this is just absolutely fantastic. Also, Brother Enzi's written a very good dictionary of theological terms, but that's kind of a different thing. This was my textbook way back in the day at Jackson College of Ministries. I had the privilege of having Dr. David Bernard taught me. With JCM at that time, you got a bachelor's degree in 3 years, and Brother Bernard taught me the oneness of God, holiness, all this, but systematic theology 1, 2, and 3 while I was there also. So let's take a look at these contents and everything that it has in it. If you've never read systematic theology, this is an excellent way to learn like basics of Christian doctrine, and then some of the different nuances and thinking processes over the years. Like I never knew there was such a disagreement on whether every soul is specially created or whether God put the ability to create the soul in our DNA with reproduction. I mean, it's just a fascinating discussion. And then all of the various nuances and sub-beliefs in that. And so that's just cool. So let's look at this. We'll get you, see how this book is set up. It's by Erdman's. You can still get this, especially in used form. Almost looks like it's Smith's Soul, actually, which would have been maybe fairly unusual for a book from the 70s. But this is a phenomenal basic Christian theology. So the nature of God, essence and attributes, righteousness and judgment, holiness. You can still see some of my old notes when I would have to read through this. And I say have to, I mean it was a have to pass, but let's say get to. It was a privilege. Brother Bernard was one of the greatest teachers because he was a lawyer. So he did everything by law. Let's look at this, let's look at this, let's look at this possibility. And you can see that in his videos to this day. And then, let's see, it's about 403 pages, eschatology, obviously the last. But then at the end, you get an amazing bibliography. And you can use that to build your library on. And what I found is many books that had a lot of vital, essential truths and facts, just because they weren't reprinted, 75 years ago. I get this a lot in the New Unger's Bible Dictionary too, but they have an amazing amount of information in them. And so, but they've fallen off of the, the map because they weren't reproduced. And so a lot of people never heard of them. Like I'm looking at John Stott, Lehman Strauss, Augustine Hopkins Strong's. I don't think I've done a review of that yet. Systematic Theology, 3 volumes. Never even heard of Morris Swedish, The Origin and Diversification of Language. Paul Lee Tan, The Interpretation of Prophecy. See, Tan is most popular for his 15,000 biblical illustrations. Merrill Unger, Cornelius Van Til, The Defense of the Faith. Bruce Waltke, John Wolford, B.B. Warfield. So just so many good things. Fred L. Whipple, The History of the Solar System. John Whitcomb. And then an index of subjects, index of scriptural references for a total of 454 pages and a ton of blank pages. So who was Henry Clarence Thiessen? He taught at Dallas Theological Seminary and served as chairman of the faculty of the graduate school at Wheaton College. He's also the author of Introduction to the New Testament, which I'll let you just read that flyleaf there. There's a lot of great introductions to the New Testament. Guthrie, you can just learn so much from some of them. I'm just so conservative. I remember when I was out at Luther Rice Seminary, I took a class or two, and I look back today and stuff that I thought was liberal then, I'm like, well, I still could have learned a lot. I just didn't want to waste my time on liberal stuff. So Henry Thiessen, Lectures in Systematic Theology, great book. Highly recommend. I can't endorse everything that's in it, obviously, but it is a great book. So God bless. Talk with you later in Jesus' name.